the emphasis has seemed, or a lot of the verbiage, I guess, seems to be about like, how do we keep the high level athletes? How do we keep the high level athletes? And which is obviously that's a huge thing. Like we don't want to lose our international presence, or especially as it's getting better. And at this next Worlds could be even better if all these countries can't come. But anyway, I kind of like sometimes when I'm listening to interviews with people or listening to a podcast or reading an article, I'm always just like, yeah, but what about like my gym, man? I've got 30 people that aren't that good, everyone's trying, but no one is to that level yet. So like, what about keeping those people in? Especially with like qualifying totals on national level meets going up and up and up and up. And, there are some lifters that I have to talk to on a weekly or daily basis where I'm like, no, man, like you'll get there, we'll put that 50 kilos on your total, but we're not going to do it this year. We just got to keep working. We got to keep working. And so I got really excited about the American Open Series that's going to be a thing for next year, because I think that's really an incredible thing to take care of everyone else and to, I guess maybe that's not a way to light the fire. It could be for some people, but at least keep the fire going or pour some gasoline on it. I was very surprised when I saw the qualifying totals that recently got announced are a lot lower than what I was expecting. I guess I was expecting them to be a little bit more similar to like the American Open totals from last year, where it was such a huge meet. But aside from that, I mean, basically everyone who competes at my gym can qualify for that, or at least very close.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's great. Like, I hope we take a huge team to Miami. But what are kind of your thoughts with the American Open Series, or that direction that it seems like we're headed in?
I think that's their answer to your concern that you had, right? And I too will benefit from that. I'm blessed to have a large program that I've worked extremely hard on. This is not a career for me, man. It is my work, and I've taken pride in it since I learned the lifts, as a young boy. But I am blessed to have many different levels in my gym, of talent, of experience, and the rapport that I have with my athletes. I have 13 athletes from my gym going to the American Open, and that qualified for the full highest American Open totals.
Yeah.
13 is a lot, and I work with every single
awesome.
one of. I work with every single one of them, and they're not people who I just speak to online. Which is a whole other topic. I'm not sure if we even have time for that one, but if we did, I'll say I fought the whole remote coaching thing for many, many years, and I still do. I have folded and I do it now, but I still have the requirement of having a little FaceTime with them, even if it's once every few months. But at any rate, these are 13 people that I have worked with, and I know them extremely well. I know most of their lifts. I may not know every single PR they have, but I'm really proud of that. And I've got about 5 youth who have registered at the American Open Youth, trials thing that they're having the Thursday, before.
Right.
But that still makes up a small fraction of the people I have who, like you, won't or currently not there yet making those big totals. So the American Open Series is going to help. They tried to do something like that about 2 years ago with what was called regionals. So the idea was to offer a national level or like a qualifying mid-range event for those who couldn't quite automatically make what was increasing totals. So they must have revamped it. Now they brought it back in the form of this American Open Series. I think that's great. I think it's awesome because, like you said, I hate to sound like this or I put it in these terms, but how about everyone else, right? The up and coming, the little people.
The people that are going to have kids that, and if you can make them love weightlifting forever, their kids are going to see that.
Yeah. And they'll encourage their kids to do it. So I think that's great. Now, to USA Weightlifting's defense, the verbiage, as you put it, where they are really trying to keep the high level athletes, that comes from pressure, pressure from the USOC, from the Olympic Committee, and they have the primary goal of international dominance and international medals, as we should. It is a sports agency, you know.
Yeah.
So I agree with the mission. The only problem with that is that it puts pressure on other sport NGBs, in this case USA Weightlifting, and winning medals, and producing keeping high level athletes equates to dollars later, support later, exposure later. I mean, still currently, I mean, there was probably more people watching weightlifting in the United States in Rio than ever before. But historically, who wants to watch a sport where Americans are not winning?
Yeah.
You'll tune into gymnastics, you'll tune into track and field and swimming because we're winning.
Yeah.
And if we win, that might change, right? That pendulum might change a little bit. And to their credit, I think this American Open Series does answer that. So if this is successful for USA Weightlifting, I think that there will be opportunities no matter who you are, whenever you started, gender, weight class. If you're involved in the sport, there will be some level of opportunity and sense of success.
Yeah, or something that's not necessarily a 10-year goal.
Yeah.
You know, because that's a really hard conversation to have. We're like, okay, well, if you focus really hard in 5 years, we might be here or whatever. Like, you know, it's like, all right, I know you just paid for your first month, but let's sit down real quick. You know?
Yeah, and I agree. And guys like you and me who have that group in your gym, you got to keep them stimulated. You got to keep them interested. It keeps them in the sport, you know, or else why do it?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we've actually gone a little bit over time. So I apologize for that. I really appreciate you spending a huge chunk out of your day doing this. As we kind of close out, well, anything you want to plug, anything you want to tell people about, you know, how to find you on Instagram? Like, you know, you said you share a lot of technical stuff on there.
Yeah, no, I do. My Instagram is Camargo_Oli, and my Facebook is just Oli Concepts. My website is oliconcepts.com that I'm in the process of making more visually appealing because it's quite ugly right now. But it does have a ton of video tips and tutorials that are free. And that's why I encourage people when I meet them, hey, you know, follow my social media, not because it looks cool to have so many followers, honestly, but it's just that it's a free resource, whether you like the information or not. You got to pay for it.
Yeah.
And you know, that's just my way of really giving back. And that's about it. I think I've pretty much covered everything I really wanted to say today. Nothing extra other than I'm looking forward as a head coach of the women's squad for the University World Championships in 2 weeks. 1 week. Wow. In Mexico. So awesome. I love getting those international jobs and assignments. They excite me, and I'll get back and have 2 weeks into the American Open, whereupon I will shut down and enjoy the holidays as best as I can, and start back up in January with a whole new year and a whole new quad, really, Tokyo 2020.
Awesome. All right, now one last question to kind of put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite lifter and or favorite lift of all time?
Yeah, I do. Alexander Ivanov, Russian, 2009. He snatches 175 kilos as a junior at the Junior Worlds at Romania. In Romania. I was there live. It was the first time I had gotten the head job of a junior world team. I had assistant jobs up until that point. And I had fallen in love with this lifter's movement, especially in the snatch, mainly because if you really look at it, you know, he actually possesses, or illustrates, I should say, the exact same movement patterns that I like most. And I try to teach everyone based on, you know, their own size, of course. Mm-hmm. And I just think he was an amazing lifter. He just caught my eye. Love his poise, love his attack on the barbell, and strong as hell. That'd be on the spot. That's who I would call out.
All right, yet another episode down. That was a really awesome one. Since we started, I think we were talking, Maddie and I were talking to each other about how cool it would be to have Danny Camargo on. So it was great. It was really awesome for me to get to speak to him, and I hope that everybody got some good information out of the content. Sorry, again, I feel like I should just rename this section Rob's Excuses. But sorry again that we've been a little bit inconsistent lately. Like I mentioned in the first part of the podcast, I am moving my personal residence, and also the gym lease is up in January. So it's been a process of trying to find a new gym location, which I think we have actually found now, which is obviously that's great. Yeah, that's about it for today. Next week, a week from today on Friday, we are going to have Dr. Andy Galpin on. Dr. Andy has been requested a handful of times by a handful of listeners, and we're really excited to get him. If you Google his name, you can see all of the information that he puts out there with training, muscle, science, all that stuff. So there should be some really awesome content next week with Dr. Andy Galpin. If you have any questions, as always, we'll post a picture of him and a reminder early next week. You can find that on Instagram at Out of Step Barbell. We appreciate all the subscribers and all the reviews. Please keep them coming, and we'll see you guys in a week. Take care.